Hi, welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm Andy Hawkins, the senior pastor of the Village Church, and I'm here with my friend Jim Icebrand, who's on the board of elders at the Village Church, but also, and more importantly for today, is the chairman of the Finance Committee. And Jim, as you know, this is the time of the year in which our newly elected officers begin their terms of office, and then also the committees of the church that are significant are sort of constituted for their next term. And so we're taking some time, not only in the church services, but also on Shell Point Television, to sort of introduce the groups that are so critically important to the functioning of the Village Church. And one of those groups is the Finance Committee.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
And so the Finance Committee obviously must have something to do with finances, so tell us a little bit about what the Finance Committee does.
Well, the Finance Committee is the type of a committee that serves really behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. We don't have a lot of quote-unquote public exposure, mm-hmm. but we do serve the Lord in a way that we feel brings honor to Him through being able to take care of the decisions relating to finances within the church community. Mm-hmm. Specifically, we deal with about 8 or 9 things on a very regular basis, one of which is to work most closely with the Director of Church Operations, which would be Karen Solomon, mm-hmm. as well as the church treasurer, who by his position automatically is a member of the Finance Committee. Mm-hmm. We review each month the financial picture of the church. We look both at the income or the offerings as they come in, as well as the expenses as those checks are written. We take a look at requests that would come to the committee for items that are not a part of our regular church budget. Mm-hmm. Part of our responsibility as the Finance Committee is to make sure that those monies that we receive are invested in a manner that, first of all, becomes a ministry of the church, mm-hmm. ministry-driven areas. We always try to maintain a level of safety for those monies. We do not invest in anything that would be in the least bit controversial. Mm-hmm. So, by and large, you know, there are a number of little points that come up and down on a monthly basis, but that pretty much takes care of what we involve ourselves in.
That's right. So normal kinds of expenditures you sort of oversee or involved in the budget process, but ultimately making recommendations to the governing board to adopt a budget that the congregation eventually approves. But in addition to that, trying to manage the resources that we have, because we have a number of different accounts that are designated but aren't spent yet, and so you make sure that they're invested in some kind of instruments that either provide liquidity when we need to get at cash, yes. or growth when we need to find ways, like we have, for instance, we have an endowment that supports our chaplaincy ministry, so we need That's growth right. in that account. Yes. So the Finance Committee is involved in those kinds of things.
That's exactly right.
Well, we're delighted that you are the chairman of that committee, and that committee is very much well-functioning and does contribute greatly to the kinds of things that our governing board eventually has to make decisions on. And certainly every time we get started in a new year, we look forward to, we have some new faces on the committee this year, and look forward always to growing as a church and as a community and making sure our finances are in order. So thank you, Jim, for being with us and sharing that information. Yes. And we thank you for joining us on Village Church Connections, and we hope to see you soon.